Let me ask you a question. Do you wake up every morning expecting to find yourself in a completely different place? Do you wake up every morning expecting to find yourself in a completely different place? If you've ever had a sleepwalking episode, then yes, probably not. Well, for the most part, waking up in an unfamiliar location is just the result of sleepwalking. It's a well-known phenomenon in which people unconsciously get up while sleeping and sometimes even walk. Sleepwalkers are usually confused and disoriented, and since they're unaware of their surroundings, they can easily injure themselves or end up in places they don't belong. Sleepwalking isn't uncommon, but in most cases, sleepwalkers eventually come back to their beds and sleep until morning. But what about the people who sleepwalk and never come back? What happens to them? And how do they wind up dead, missing, or living somewhere else? Welcome back. I'm here. And today I will tell you about people who disappear right before our eyes. Be sure to stick around till the end to learn about one of the strangest sleepwalking cases ever recorded. You won't want to miss this. Benjamin Bathurst. On July 14, 1989, a young girl named Jill Wilbright visited her father, Benjamin Bathurst, who was serving time at the New Folsom State Prison near Sacramento, California. Her father had been sentenced to 30 years for raping 2 women. After spending the day with her dad, Jill returned home to Citrus Heights, California, about 18 miles away. Jill told her mother, Kathy, about her day, and both fell asleep on the couch watching TV. Around midnight, Jill got up to use the bathroom. Kathy didn't say anything. She knew her daughter was old enough to take care of herself and assumed she would return soon. But Jill never came back. A quick search of the house revealed nothing. Then Kathy Bathurst realized Jill wasn't in the backyard either. Concerned, the woman dialed 911, reporting her daughter missing. The police began searching for the girl, but after 3 days, there was still no sign of her. Meanwhile, her father, Benjamin, wrote a letter to the warden, which read in part, "I don't know what happened to her. I only saw her once in June. My daddy loves her very much. Please help find my little girl." Even though he was behind bars, Bathurst was questioned, as he had been released on parole on July, the day his daughter disappeared. However, the police found no evidence linking him to the crime, and he was ruled out as a suspect. Bathurst would later be convicted of another sexual assault and sent back to prison. In October 2015, 26 years after Jill Wilbright's disappearance, her remains were found buried in the backyard of a home in Orangevale, not far from where she lived. But her case remains officially unsolved. Jimmy Hoffa. James Riddle Hoffa was born on February 14, 1913. He worked as a truck driver for the grocery industry before becoming the president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. Despite his position, Hoffner had a colorful career that included arrests for jury tampering, attempted bribery, and conspiracy to commit bribery. He spent 14 months in federal prison for receiving illegal payments from the pension fund of the Teamsters. Upon his release, Hoffa tried to regain control of the union, but his attempts were thwarted by government interference. He was indicted again and charged with mail and wire fraud. The charges stemmed from his mismanagement of union funds. Hoffner denied wrongdoing and claimed he was being persecuted. He started speaking publicly against the government. On July 1980, at 69, Hoffa boarded a plane to Atlanta to meet with a mafia boss. After arriving at the airport, he used the public phone to call his wife, Josephine, and told her he would be in Washington, D.C. the following day and would return home on Sunday. Hoffa was never seen alive again. He was declared dead, presumed murdered. His body was never recovered. Throughout the years, thousands of theories regarding Hoffa's disappearance have emerged. Some claim he's alive and hiding in South America. Others believe he was killed by his former associates. Still, others insist the government kidnapped him. The CIA theorized that Hoffa might have been executed by Anthony "Tony Jack" Giacalone, a Detroit mafia boss who died in 2004. However, Giacalone's son claims his father was innocent. Tony said his father had nothing to do with Hoffa's disappearance because he didn't even know him. The case remains unsolved. Karen Claviness. On December 21st, 1991, Karen Claveness went to bed. At 4 a.m., the mother of two was awakened by a loud bang and some screams. When she looked outside, she saw a white van driving slowly past her house. Karen decided to lock all the doors and continue sleeping. But when her husband left for work around 7 a.m., Karen was gone. Her car was still parked in the driveway, her purse and coat were hanging by the front door, and her slippers were beside the bed. There was no sign of a struggle. The woman had simply vanished. The police received a call from Karen's workplace, saying she never showed up. They also checked all local hospitals but couldn't locate her. The investigation yielded no significant leads. 2 weeks later, Karen's brother, Mark, flew in from Arizona to look for her. He distributed hundreds of flyers with the missing woman's photo, then returned home disheartened. 3 months after she disappeared, Karen's car was found abandoned in a parking lot. The case was featured on America's Most Wanted, but nobody came forward with any information. All that remains of Karen Claveness is a mystery: Gerald and Sharon Lawson. Around 10 p.m. on November 27, 2006, Gerald Lawson left his house in Tokyo to buy bread and milk. His wife, Sharon, stayed home to take care of their grandson, Ryuta, who had a high fever. The boy's parents were out celebrating their wedding anniversary. When Gerald returned home, the three retired early. The next morning, their grandson's parents arrived to pick up Ryuta, but when they knocked on the door, nobody answered. Worried, they called the police. Officers broke into the house and discovered something disturbing. Both Lawrences were lying in bed fully clothed, wearing their glasses and dentures. The covers had been pulled up, suggesting they had gone to bed as usual. But their faces were oddly pale and their eyes were staring blankly ahead. It looked like Gerald and Sharon had been dead for quite some time. However, autopsies revealed they hadn't taken any medication and their deaths appeared to be natural. Later, the authorities learned that a malfunctioning humidifier was likely responsible for the poisoning, but that left unanswered why the bodies had been undisturbed and why their grandson was alone in the house. An investigation revealed the boy had been wandering around the neighborhood for several hours. Which case terrified you the most? Let us know in the comments and share this video with your friends. People tend to become nervous if they hear strange noises at night. A sudden knock at the door, whispers coming from outside the window, the sound of footsteps or voices in the darkness can cause a lot of anxiety. And it doesn't matter whether these sounds are real or imagined. What do you do if you hear strange sounds while sleeping? Tell us about it in the comments. Now, on average, humans spend approximately 1/3 of their lives sleeping. For some, it can be significantly more. We sleep to restore our strength, grow, develop, and dream. But what happens when we're sleeping? If you ask scientists, they'll tell you that sleeping means that your brain is resting. However, doctors say that your brain works harder while you're sleeping than when you're awake. Your brain controls your breathing, heart rate, body temperature, and metabolism while you're sleeping. It also processes memories and experiences from the previous day, transferring them to long-term memory. There are various theories about what happens when we die, but science suggests we go through several stages while sleeping. There are 5 stages of sleep: N1, N2, N3, N4, and N5. N1 is a light sleep that occurs right after you fall asleep. This is when hypnic jerks happen. N2 is when your eye movements slow down and your heartbeat and breathing become slower. N3 is a deeper sleep that lasts about 20 to 40 minutes. It's important for restoring physical energy. N4 and N5 are rapid eye movement or REM sleep. This is when you're most likely to dream. REM sleep makes up about 20 to 25% of total sleep. Even though we can experience dreams at various stages, they're most intense during REM sleep. But what happens if you die during REM sleep? Does your soul leave your body, or does it go on an adventure through space and time? The answer is unknown. But there are theories that attempting to explain it may lead to new discoveries about consciousness itself. Have you ever experienced sleep paralysis? Let us know in the comments.